Let's take a look at where we did yesterday.
Looks good.
Yeah, look at that, up 127 points. We had a rough week last week, but we're off to a pretty good start here.
Yeah, 13,551. Time now for Smart Money. Let's check in with Fox 40's financial analyst Keith Springer this morning. And Keith, Apple already announcing some good news today.
Yeah, Apple's got a new toy coming out, and they're playing hardball with it. They're going to have a little party in a couple of weeks on October 23rd. They're going to bring a lot of people down to a theater and unveil a new iPad, a little mini iPad competing directly with Microsoft's.
Yeah, it's interesting. The pricing is going to be fascinating to see because the iPad has been, a really expensive tablet. Now they're getting down there competing with the Kindle Fire, and that'll be fascinating to see. Hey, I know one of the big stories today is U.S. debt, and everybody presumes, boy, China holds so much more of our debt than anybody else, and there's a surprise here, isn't there?
Yep, Japan just took them over as the #1 holder of U.S. debt, so it's no longer China. We like to pick on China, but it looks like Japan just stepped in.
Help us, everybody, understand that, by the way. When you say they hold U.S. debt, what's that mean? What did they buy? What do we owe?
Well, actually, the largest holder of U.S. debt is the Fed.
Right.
They've been the biggest buyer of U.S. debt since the crisis. That's every time they do a stimulus or a quantitative easing, they're out there buying more debt. But every time the government issues debt, a treasury bond, so they can pay their bills, someone has to buy it. If it isn't the U.S. Treasury or the Fed, another country has to buy it. We've been relying on China for the last several years, and now Japan is buying more of our debt than China. So they're basically funding our daily operation. Isn't
Japan a bigger debtor nation than we are? I mean, aren't they on rockier financial ground than us?
Well, it's a big question. They definitely are. Their demographics are much worse than ours. They're a bug in search of a windshield. They have an older population. They don't allow any. They don't allow any immigration, and they typically buy a lot of their own debt, but their interest rates are so low, they're below 1%. So they can get a little bit higher interest rate for buying ours, so that's what they've been doing the last couple of years.
That's my quote of the day, Keith. They're a bug in search of a windshield.
Bug in search of a windshield.
Keith Springer, we'll talk to you again next hour. Always very insightful. If you have any questions for Mr. Springer, you can send an email to money@fox40.com, or you can call him up at 916-925-8900, or if you want to get more info or work with him, check out his website, keithspringer.com.
He's going to be answering your questions on the show coming up a little bit later on this morning. Let's check in with Sheldon Orvis in the Atlantis-Reno traffic.